Hello and welcome to 2CrazyMedia. I'm Matthew and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite movies of 2025. I did a similar video last Thursday where I talked about my favorite video games of last year, but today I'm going to be talking about my favorite movies instead. We're going to be doing a little differently where I'm actually going to be talking about my top 10 movies. I'm going to go through a list from 10 to 1 and kind of just talk about some of the movies that I loved the most last year. Now again, this is my own personal list. If you guys have any other lists or anything differently or any different favorite movies from mine, which I'm sure most of you will, then put it down in the comments. What are some of your favorite movies? And yeah, so I say we just get straight into it. And let's start with my 10th favorite movie of the year. And that is Ballerina. That's right, that's the new John Wick spin-off movie that came out earlier in the year, starring Ana de Armas. What I really loved about the movie is that it took this world of John Wick, which is like the world of assassins, which I think is just so cool and so creative, and I've always wanted to kind of see more of it, and I love every time you get to see it expanded on in the John Wick movies. But now, since, John Wick 3 was kind of the end, or at least for now, the end of the John Wick movies, I was, really happy to be getting more spin-offs. But it was always kind of a concern for me with a movie that kind of has this John Wick title but isn't John Wick, can another actor sort of that isn't Keanu Reeves carry a movie like that? And I was proven totally correct when Ana de Armas came and absolutely, blew it out of the water. She did such a great job as the lead in this film. I think she's amazing and totally shows that really any actor can kind of come in if they're good and bring some more life into the John Wick franchise. And Keanu Reeves is in it. That really isn't a spoiler. It shows in the trailer. He's in it. I don't want to say how much, but he does play a part in the film, and it's awesome just to kind of see him back and kind of watch him again, and because he's just a great character, such an iconic character, and just this movie was so fun. I mean, like the action and the directing and everything it was way better than I expected. The movie blew my expectations out of the water in terms of what I expected it to be. I kind of was like, oh gosh, it's not from the same director as John Wick films. It's not with Keanu Reeves as the main star. This can't be good. And then it was actually really good. I wouldn't say it was better than any of the past John Wick films, but those are such high bars. I'd say that this is a really good spin-off of it. It's a great movie, super fun action. I mean, some of the set pieces in the film, blew me away. I love the whole, towards the end of the movie, where you have this town that the main character's in, and turns out that all the people that live in the town are, assassins and stuff. That's awesome. I thought it was so cool, and it really did feel kind of like a video game. This is the most video game feeling movie I've seen in a while, and I absolutely love that about it. So yeah, my number 10 is Ballerina. My number 9 is Fantastic Four. On this channel, I think in the past we've talked a lot about superhero movies and Marvel movies especially, because that is just a lot of the news that comes with movies. And so, obviously I love Marvel movies. I may not love it as much as I did back in the day, but I think that's most people could agree with me. But I still do like Marvel movies, and whenever a Marvel movie comes out, I still will see it in theaters. And that is no different with Fantastic Four. I really like Fantastic Four. It may not be my favorite superhero movie of the year, and I'll get to that very soon in the list, but I really did like it. It was sort of after a pretty spotty year from Marvel the past few years, I'd say, and not great start to the year with Captain America. I think the other two Marvel movies that released this year were great. I think Fantastic Four is probably my least favorite of the two, but I loved it. I loved, all the actors from Pedro Pascal was great. Matt Shakman did a great job directing. It looked cool. It had a very distinctive style from the rest of the Marvel movies, and I think that also made it stand out. It was unique. It had this unique look. It took place in a different universe, which was not something we see very often for Marvel movies. And so I like kind of getting a different feeling for it. It felt different. It felt new. It felt unique. It felt like a breath of fresh air. And I really like that. And I can say that a lot for a lot of the Marvel movies that came out this year. And so I think they did a great job with Fantastic Four. I think it is one of the better Marvel movies to come out in recent years. And I've just found it to be a lot of fun. I did have some issues with it, kind of didn't love the ending as much so that people did, but still it was a great film, and that first half of the film absolutely was so much fun. And also the music is great. All right, my number 8 is going to be Superman, another superhero movie, and I think, the Warner Brothers and DC and James Gunn had a lot riding on this movie. This was the first live action project in the DCU, the brand new DCU, after, James Gunn came in, swooped in, and took over for DC at Warner Brothers, got rid of the DCEU, which, a good thing in my opinion, wasn't doing that great, and kind of created his own universe. He's got a whole pipeline of films coming out. Like this year, we've got Supergirl coming out. Then a couple of years down the line, we're going to have Man of Tomorrow, which is the sequel to Superman. And I think Superman is awesome. I love James Gunn. He is one of my favorite directors of all time. I just think, while none of his movies may not be in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, I just think except for the Suicide Squad. I do love the Suicide Squad, but every single movie he's put out so far has just been consistently so good and so fun. And yes, they may all kind of have a similar vibe to each other. They're all really, really good and consistently awesome. And I've just loved them all. And so going into Superman, I was very excited for it. I may not be the biggest Superman fan in the world, but I do really like Superman. And I was just kind of hoping for a good movie with this because I love James Gunn. I don't want to see this be bad. And there's just so much writing on this film. And so I loved it. It was awesome. It really was kind of like a good marriage between this fun Superman film and just kind of James Gunn's vibe. It felt the least James Gunn of any of his films, but like not in a bad way. It felt different. It was still James Gunn in the way it was very punk rocky. It was very sort of not like normal superhero like. And that is what I like about the James Gunn Superman movies, but it did also at the same time, you felt like you were watching a Superman movie. It really just captured the true sort of nature of Superman. And I love that. It put Superman in this way of you really did feel like he was like this hero and you could like look to him for hope. And I think that's great. I think that is what Superman is, especially like in the comics and in the past movies. And in past movies where he kind of has been more darker, I think to have him in this light tone is awesome again. I think all the performances, David Corenswet was fantastic as Superman. I thought that everyone else, just Rachel Brosnahan was great. It was just seriously such a fun movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, one of my favorite villain performances of the year. He was just so much fun. And it was cool. It introduced us to a new world. I'm excited to see more. I'm excited to go into Supergirl and see how they can expand the universe of DC now in his new DCU and just kind of see it all. I really enjoyed Superman. I think it really hit the mark perfectly and it was a great film. Alrighty, for my number 7 favorite movie of the year, and that is going to be Thunderbolts. That's right, finishing out the superhero movies of the year, all 3 of them back to back to back, and we're going to end with Thunderbolts at number 7. I think Thunderbolts, and this is a controversial opinion, I feel like most people would kind of be a little different from mine, but I would say that Thunderbolts is my favorite superhero movie of the year. I absolutely loved it. I saw it twice in theaters, and both times I enjoyed it so much. I think kind of having, just like I said with Fantastic Four, where it felt very different and unique from Marvel, from a lot of Marvel movies in the past, I think Thunderbolts is the same thing, where it felt very different. It felt kind of darker. It felt kind of a little bit like a Suicide Squad, like a James Gunn movie, but also different. It felt darker. It felt, I don't want to say indie because a lot of people have been saying that Thunderbolts is indie. And I'm like, all right, it's not indie. Like, it's trying to be indie with their whole marketing. But like A20, this is like a bunch of A24 actors, and this is like the A24 Marvel movies. And I'm like, it's still a Marvel movie. It's still a superhero movie. It's still a big budget action superhero film at the end of the day. But I think it kind of did try to go for that, and I think it worked. If you kind of think about how it tries to be that way, I love the villain. I think my favorite part of the movie is the villain, and I think the villain is one of my favorite villains in any Marvel movie. I mean, like, Sentry is so cool, and just kind of his sort of design and style and how he kind of turns people into darkness, and it's so cool. And the sequence towards the end of the film where they're going through this sort of darkness thing in their heads and fighting together, I loved it. I wish I can get 30 more minutes of that sequence. It was so cool. And I'm like, everyone in this film, from Florence Pugh to David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, everyone was so much fun. They all played their characters so well. I think all the characters really work together. I love Sebastian Stan and anything he's in. We've talked about it on our news video on Sunday, where Sebastian Stan is going to be in Batman Part 2, and I love Sebastian Stan and anything. I think he's great as a Winter Soldier, always. But yeah, this was just a ton of fun. I thought the ending was a little abrupt, I'll be honest, but it was a great time. I really like Thunderbolts. It's my favorite superhero movie of the year. It's my 7th favorite film of the year. It's a true, after Captain America, Brave New World was not that great. It was really, for me at least, a breath of fresh air from Marvel, for superhero movies in general. And I'm excited to see these characters again. We're going to see them, both them and Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday. If you've been keeping up with all the teasers that have been coming, I'm sure we'll talk about it sooner or later on the channel. But yeah, there's been a lot of teasers coming out lately. I know just today we got a teaser with the Fantastic Four in it. So I'm excited to see both of them kind of come together in Avengers Doomsday. I am looking forward to Avengers Doomsday. Obviously, the Marvel fatigue has got to me, but not in the point where I'm still excited for these movies to come out in theaters, especially Doomsday, which is going to be this big event. And you know what? I look forward to those big events in theaters. I think it's fun to go to the movie theater and see something that big and that grand. So yeah, Thunderbolts is my 7th favorite film of the year. Alrighty. For number 6, my 6th favorite film of the year is Frankenstein. This is one at the very end of the year from Guillermo del Toro, who is a great, fantastic, masterful director. He's done a lot of horror, sort of creepy monster stuff in the past, and like Shape of Water and all that. And I went to Frankenstein very excited for it. I got to actually see it in a theater, which is very cool. Even though it did then come on Netflix, which, yeah, I have my own thoughts about how I don't love that too much, but this movie is really, really good, and I think it captures sort of the essence of Frankenstein in a very different way than most Frankenstein movies we've seen. Like, I've seen some of the past really old 1930s Frankenstein movies, and they all kind of have, Frankenstein as this monster, and you see it at like Halloween Horror Nights, where Frankenstein is just this green, tall guy with like bolts in his head, and that is sort of the Frankenstein we all know and love. But to have a very different take on it, where, Jacob Elordi is amazing. I'm like, he's been winning awards left and right for his performance as Frankenstein, and I think very well deserved. His performance is absolutely fantastic. It was my favorite part of the movie. It blew me away. I mean, like, the way he conveyed so much emotion and stuff just by, not even speaking for most part. Like, Frankenstein maybe has 5 words spoken in the whole film, and to even speak is crazy to hear that. But also just his performance and the emotions he conveys just while staying silent is amazing. And everyone from Oscar Isaac to Mia Goth to Christopher Waltz is all just so good. I mean, like, the design language of this film is crazy. This gothic architecture, it looks beautiful. I mean, like, the cinematography and everything it blew me away in this film. I think I have some issues with it. Like, I didn't love the scenes with the boat in the ice. I think a lot of those scenes, when we cut to it, it was like we had the foot on the gas, and then all of a sudden we cut back to the boat in the ice, and it was like kind of slamming on the brake for me personally. I like some of the scenes in the ice, but not all of them, and I think sometimes it was like, it was getting so good, and then we kind of cut back to this, and I was like, oh, dang. But other than that, I think Guillermo del Toro did an absolutely fantastic job. I think this might be his best film yet. It's definitely getting the recognition as it right now with award season happening, and it's just so good. I mean, like, it's everything. I feel like all of his films have been leading up to Frankenstein, and it's really, really good. It hits its mark perfectly, and it's a great time, and I highly recommend giving it a watch. It's so cool, especially for horror fans out there. Alrighty. My 5th favorite film of the year, and this one's going to come as a little bit of a surprise to me as well, and that is The Naked Gun. That's right. That is the sort of the Naked Gun reboot revival film that came out this year from Akiva Schaffer. And I didn't expect to really love this one as much as I did at all. I wanted to see it in theaters because I was like, I can go for a good comedy movie like this. And this movie is hilarious. This is the most I've ever laughed in a movie theater. It's the hardest I've ever laughed seeing a movie in the theater, and I wasn't the only one in the theater. Absolutely hysterical. I mean, like, the whole theater, it was a packed theater seeing it opening weekend, and just everyone was just hysterically laughing. It was awesome, and this movie is hilarious. It is so funny. Liam Neeson, just his comedy in this film is great. I love the sort of slapstick humor of just kind of this serious tone, and everything they say in such a serious manner, but it is so funny and so goofy, and the characters in the film take everything so seriously, but what's happening around them, what they're doing, their actions are so goofy. It's kind of this perfect tone, and I absolutely love it. I've seen the original Naked Gun before this, and I love that. It's one of my favorite comedy films, and this is now also one of my favorite comedy movies. It's just such a fun, enjoyable time. It's a very short movie. It's like an hour and 25 minutes, but it's a ton of fun. I seriously recommend it. There's some moments of this film that I cannot stop thinking about, just how hilarious they were. Some sequences that just so funny, and I think about all the time. I think especially the snowman sequence, just so funny. I love this movie. I was so shocked how much I did enjoy it in theaters, and I had a great time, and it's a movie that I've been constantly wanting to go back and watch again at home, just because I had such a great time with it. But yeah, that is my number 5. Alrighty, my number 4 favorite film of the year. This is a movie that has been getting a lot of buzz this awards season, and that is Jay Kelly. I really, really, really like Jay Kelly. I'm always kind of a sucker for movies about Hollywood that take place in Hollywood, following actors or agents or managers, like The Player, for example, which is one of my favorite Hollywood movies. But Jay Kelly is another one that kind of really stole my heart. This follows an actor who is kind of big, but is kind of dealing with realizing that he didn't spend enough time with his family and his daughters that he should have. And I think it's just a really beautiful film. I think some people may have complaints of kind of this, I shouldn't be feeling bad for him, but I don't really have that complaint. I just think I think a lot of it has to do with George Clooney's acting is so good, and that really does make me feel compelled to want to feel bad for this character. And I really do like Jay Kelly as a character. I think George does a fantastic job. I think what surprised me the most is Adam Sandler's performance. Adam Sandler played his agent or manager and did an absolutely fantastic job. He blew me away. Usually Adam Sandler is someone who, I don't love his movies that much. I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler fan, especially his comedy films. Most of his comedy movies I don't really love that much. But I really, really, really loved his performance in Jay Kelly. I thought he was fantastic. I mean, just this movie looked beautiful. It was shot really well. It was directed well. It is Noah Baumbach. He's a great director. But it was good. It was funny. It was emotional. I cried at the end. I think the moment, it really kind of did feel like almost a love letter to George Clooney himself, this film. And I think that is interesting. I may not have seen that many George Clooney films, but I can agree that he is one of the greatest actors of our generation, of this time. And so to kind of have this movie as a celebration of him in a way, especially towards the end, is really beautiful. I think the ending of this film is so amazing with the theater, and I love this movie. I came out of it really loving it. I came out of it thinking, wow, this was so good. It's another movie kind of about Hollywood and actors, and I love that, and about agents, and it stole my heart. I really, really, really love Jay Kelly. Alrighty, now we finally get into my top 3. These are my 3 favorite movies of 2025. Alright, my number 3 is Weapons from Zach Cregger. This is a pretty big deal, honestly, in my opinion at least, and I feel like in the world. When this movie came out, this movie was massive. I remember hearing about it first, before any trailers, before anything like that. When the news first broke that there was a bidding war for the script for Weapons, and I had no clue what it was, but there was a massive bidding war, like gigantic, with some big horror legends trying to compete for this movie. And when the news broke that it went to Zach Cregger and Warner Brothers, who had just done Barbarian, which was absolutely fantastic. Such a great, and one of my favorite horror movies of the past few years. And it went to him, and even though Jordan Peele wanted it and fired his manager because he didn't get it. And at that point, when I found out that Jordan Peele wanted the script so bad that when he didn't get it, he fired his manager, I knew this would be good. And sure enough, it was amazing. I mean, like, the whole marketing running up to this film was so cool and so unique. All the scenes of all the footage of the kids running away from the house with their arms wide was so creepy and so terrifying, and it was just such a terrifying concept of a movie. It was very different and very scary, and this movie blew me away in theaters. I knew it'd be good going into it, but I didn't think it'd be this good. It is one of the scariest movies of the year, but it's also really funny. It's got a good comedic element to it. I think that is a lot thanks to Zach Cregger and just his history in comedy and stuff. But this movie is awesome, from the cinematography to the acting. I mean, Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Austin Abrams, all absolutely fantastic in this film. I think who steals the movie by far is Amy Madigan as Gladys, this character who no one kind of knew about before the film, and then going into the film and kind of finding more about Gladys, and then finally towards the third act of the film, finally getting to know who is behind this all and behind the whole mystery and learning more about Gladys. Absolutely terrifying and like so creepy, and Amy Madigan does an absolutely fantastic performance, and she is like winning awards at like she won Critics' Choice Awards for Best Supporting Actor. She's most likely going to be nominated for Best Actor and could win at the Oscars for Best Supporting, and I think that's awesome. I think, you know, to get Oscars recognition for a horror movie like this, I think it's one of the best horror movies of the decade. It's so good. I love Weapons. There are some moments in this film, like the moment when Julia Garner's character is sitting in her car sleeping, and the character comes, the door opens slowly, she walks out of the house creepily with scissors in her hands, walks over to the car, and the whole theater was silent. And then you hear the door open of the car, and the whole theater, you can hear around us, just everyone gasping, and it's such a cool moment. That scene is awesome. Being in the theater for that scene was so cool, and this movie is amazing. I love Weapons so much. It's one of my favorite horror movies of the last few years. Thought it was so good, and Amy Madigan did a fantastic job as Gladys. I think she is deserving of every award that comes her way, and I am campaigning for her. I think she's fantastic. But yeah, that is my third favorite movie of the year. Now my top two. My second favorite movie of the year, and honestly, my second and first favorite movie of the year could honestly be intertwined. It just depends on the day. I love both of these movies so much, and my second favorite movie of the year is F1. F1, directed by Joseph Kosinski, the same guy who did Top Gun Maverick, is awesome. I knew ever since Joseph Kosinski said he was going to be doing a movie about F1, ever since I was like, okay, the guy who just did Top Gun Maverick, where he put actual actors and cameras in fighter jets and filmed it, is going to be doing the same, where he's going to put actual actors in F1 cars and film it, is awesome. And this movie is so cool. I mean, like, the cinematography is obviously mind-blowing and so cool to see sort of the actors and the cameras in the F1 cars and how it's shot and how most of it is real. It's super, super cool. But I just think it's the story for me and it's everything that comes together for this film that really why I love it so much. It kind of can be looked at as another generic sports movie with, you know, needle drops and very convenient moments, but I like that. I enjoyed it. It's my favorite sports movie I think I've ever seen, and I had a great time with it. I like the soundtrack. Hans Zimmer, again, is Hans Zimmer. He did a fantastic job with the score for this film, and everyone is great. I love Brad Pitt, Carrie Condon, Damson Idris, Javier Bardem. Everyone was so good. I am campaigning for Damson Idris to be the next James Bond. He was so good in this film. And I love this movie. It was just so good. I saw it 2 times in theaters. I watched it again at home just a month ago. I mean, I absolutely adore this film. I'm obsessed with it. Just the vibe, the music, the look, the feel, the story, everything of this film I love. I just was enamored by this film when it came out. I used to watch F1 a lot in past years. I haven't as much now, but this movie makes me want to get back to watching F1, seriously, and continuing to watch it, because I really did like watching F1 as a sport back in the day. And yeah, this film is awesome. I just cannot stop thinking about this movie, how much I love it, and I think that really does show it's a good film, at least for me. I know not many other people may have this in their top 10 movies of the year, especially at their top 2, but F1 is just that good for me. I cannot stop thinking about it. It doesn't help that I'm wearing a shirt with a tire on it, but I love F1. It was a movie that I felt like was made for me, specifically for me. Alrighty, and now for my favorite movie of the year, that has to go to Sinners. Sinners is so good. This movie blew me away. I knew it coming from Ryan Coogler it'd be good. He's a great director and has a very proven track record. And especially him working with Michael B. Jordan is always a sure good combination. It's always a combination that you know is going to be good. Those two just work really well together. And Sinners, as soon as it came out and everyone is saying this is one of the best movies of the year already, I knew it'd be great. And this film is insane. It is one of, in my opinion, the best war films ever made. It is kind of very distinct where the first half is sort of this character piece and this time piece and all about these characters getting together and these two brothers coming back to this town and reuniting with all these people that they used to know and building this juke joint. And then finally we get to the second half of the film and it just becomes this vampire horror masquerade. And it is so cool. It is such a cool change. And if someone going to this film had no idea what it was going to be about, kind of all of a sudden be like, oh my God, this is about vampires, is such a cool surprise. Obviously, I knew going into it that there'd be something like that. But even being in the theaters, knowing and seeing the trailers, being shocked and surprised watching the film, and absolutely loving it. Ryan Coogler did an amazing job. The cinematographer, amazing. And just the cast. Michael B. Jordan is seriously one of the best performances of the year as Smoke and Stack. Just him playing twins. Or brothers. I don't know if they're twins, actually. But him just playing brothers is so cool. You had other fantastic performers. Miles Caton as Sammy. Absolutely insane. The scene of them in the juke joint, him singing with all the other music and stuff coming together. One of the best scenes, definitely the best scene of the year, the best sequence of any film in the year, but also one of just the best sequences ever, especially involving music. This film's soundtrack is amazing. It is beautiful. I listen to it all the time, the music for this movie. It is gorgeous. I think Ludwig Göransson did a phenomenal job. And just everyone, Haley Steinfeld is amazing. Wunmi Mosaku is amazing as well. Just the whole cast is just insane. I am enamored by this film. Jack O'Connell as Remick is crazy. He's crazy good. And just all the music and all the singing and all the moments, it feels kind of in some parts like a musical. And I love that. This movie is just, it blew me away, and I can only say nice things. I don't have any negatives about this film, and that's how you know it's a really good movie. And I'm enamored by this film. Again, with this film, I saw it twice in theaters. Getting to see it in IMAX is a crazy experience. Just wild, and I hope, and it keeps releasing so often in theaters, and I'm sure many of you have also got to see it in IMAX, and it is just such a crazy experience. So yeah, Sinners is my favorite movie of the year. It really is a masterpiece. But that's all. So that is my top 10 movies of the year. To go through it again from 10 to 1. At 10 we have Ballerina. At 9 we have Fantastic Four. At 8 we have Superman. At 7 we have Thunderbolts. At 6 we have Frankenstein. At 5 we have The Naked Gun. At 4 we have Jay Kelly. At 3 we have Weapons. At 2 we have F1. And number 1 is Sinners. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have a different list from mine, which I'm sure you definitely do, then comment down below. I'm curious to see what other people thought about the movies this year. If you have any questions or maybe any topics you'd like for me to cover in any future Tuesday, Thursday videos, please put it down. I think for this upcoming Thursday, I'm planning on doing a video kind of recapping the Resident Evil showcase that is going to be happening on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that'll be all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.